Hello and welcome to this video where we'll come into while statement. While statement is basically an if loop. So you can see it as a loop where there's a condition, and when the condition is true, it's continue to loop, and we will repeat statements until the condition is false. So remember what you've learned from the if statement lectures and apply that knowledge into this for the while loop or while statement. So see you in Visual Studio Code. So here I am in Visual Studio Code, and I will start coding it out from scratch. As you can see, this is an empty folder. So I've opened this while statements, and this is not a repository, but you should definitely work in GitHub repository and commit and push your code. And we can see we don't have a virtual environment as well, so I will create one, VNV. If you already have that, you should not do that. Instead, you should just activate it. So source.bin activate. And in Windows, it's scripts instead of bin, okay? So now I activate my virtual environment. You can see that through the parentheses here. So let's install uv pip install ipykernel because I need that for Jupyter Notebook. And also if you already installed it, so just follow along from here. Okay, so now let's create a Jupyter Notebook. So touch while statements.ipnv. Okay, so now I have this one. I can do code while statements, and I open it directly here. And then I change the kernel to my Python environments to virtual environment, and I just open up my markdown here. So call it while statements, while statements, like this. Okay. As I said before, a while. So as long as the condition is true, all the statements within the while block will run. Otherwise, it won't run. Right? So we can start here. N equals 0. So n is just a number. So while n is smaller than 5, print f hello n, just like that. And then if I run this one, you can see it will run forever. So interrupt this one so that now as you can see it printing it forever, because I have gone into an endless loop. This is really bad because we get the n, it will always be true, and then this will run and run and run. Okay, so what to do? We can do n plus equals 1. So this is a plus equal operator, so it means that we add 1 to the variable n. So n starts with 0, and then it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it stops because here we have smaller than 5, not smaller, equal than 5. Okay? Remember that this is actually the same as n equals n plus 1. So you have the old value of n plus 1 added to the new variable n. You reassign it. So here plus equal, you add 1 for each of the iterations. Okay, and so for first time, you see n equals 0, so it prints out hello 0, and then we add it by 1, and we come back here, print hello 1, and then we add it by 1, it becomes 2, and then we go into here again, etc. So we go here until this condition becomes false. Right? So as long as it's true, we will repeat the blocks here. So we're looping it. This is the if loop. Okay, so just give an example here. Type this one in Markdown. So we have an oil leakage. There's an oil leakage causing the bird population in an island to 1/2 in each year. From start, there were 80,000 birds. How many years does it take for it to have 110 remaining? So this is interesting. So let's do this. We start with variable birds equals to 80,000. Actually, you can do this in Python. You can do, for example, if you have two large numbers, you can do this. This is the same. So if you type birds, you still have 80,000. So this is to simplify for larger numbers. Actually, this is not so large, so this is still readable. year equals 0, we start with 0, and then while birds is larger than 8,000, because 8,000 is 1/10 of the original number of birds, right? So print f string year. There were birds left. Or I can have birds like this. And then we have birds divided equals by 2. And we have year plus equals 1. And then we have a print statement. Print. It takes years for the birds to have 1/10 of population. Okay, run this one, and you can see. Okay, actually, we can. You see 0.0. So :0f to format it a little bit nicer. Okay, so year 0, there were 80,000 birds, and then 40,000, and we half it each time. And you can see it takes 4 years for the birds to have 1/10 of population, or less than. It was to have less than 1/10 of population. Okay? Yes, and let's go into a break statement here. Break statement. So we have import. Let's do like this. We import random as RND. While true. So if I just do while true and print something, then this will run forever and ever and ever. And that's bad. So we'll have number 1 equals rnd.randint 110. And I copy this one, number 2. So this means that we're basically throwing numbers. So we get the RND. Actually, I should explain what this is. We should actually, before using it, I should show what this means. I need to import it as well. So this one gives me a random number between 1 and 10. So if I run it several times, you can see that I get a lot of different numbers. So what I do is that I get a number between 1 and 10, and then I can, for example, play this. So user answer equals to int. I want to make a multiplication game, basically. So int input, what is number 1 times number 2? So the user puts in 2 numbers, or puts in a number that is should be the answer of these 2 numbers times each other. That's basically the game. Okay, so if user answer equals to number 1 times number 2, then print correct, else print wrong. The answer was number 1 times number 2, and I will make it into f string. Okay, and then we can do play again, or we can start playing this first. Okay, now it's an endless loop. So what is 9 times 6? 53. That is wrong. Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, it prints out wrong. The answer was 54. Okay, 2 times 1, 2. Yeah, that was correct. But it still keeps playing, right? So 9 times 10, 98. That's wrong. The answer was 90, etc. Okay, so interrupt this one. Control C, escape. Yeah, escape and clicking the interrupt button. Okay, so what do? We can do like this. Play again equals input 1 play again. Y yes. Okay. So then we do an if statement. If play again not equals to y, then print have a nice day. And we do a break. So we break out of this endless loop. So I run this one. 70, correct. Okay, let me close down this one. You see here, correct. Wanna play again? Yes for yes to run again. What is 1 times 5? That is wanna play again. That should be wrong, or it should print out wrong actually. I wanna play again. No. Okay, then it printed out. It should have printed out, if this is true, wrong. Yeah, it should have printed out there. Well, it does print out. I don't know why it didn't print out that time. Maybe it's a bug in the GUI. However, I tried it again and it worked. It printed out each time. Okay, so in this lecture you have seen me working with while statements, and as you've seen it's basically just a if loop. So if statement, you will understand while statement quite easily, I think. And just to make sure, think like it's repeating whenever the condition is true. And a question that is very common is, when should you use while statement and when should you use statement? For while statement, when you don't know the number of iterations that you will need, then you use while statement. And when, for example, when you want to play again, we don't know how many times the player wants to play again. Maybe it's 5 times, maybe it's 0 times, right? So then while statements is very suitable. However, when you're looping through, for example, a list of items, then for statements, definitely. Because then you know exactly what to loop through. Okay, with this lecture, I hope that you learned a lot about while statements, and remember to commit and push your code to GitHub. So thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye.